very important when dealing with a diagnosis of myasthenia gravis to become an advocate for yourself or for those close to you with MG. The key to being an effective advocate is education. Let's listen now to some experienced voices sharing what they've learned in their MG journey.
The symptoms that you described, I mean, droopy eye, double vision, honestly, that could be a lot of different things.
It could be, and that's one of the major challenges. A lot of times people come into emergency departments and they are treated as if they've had a stroke, which is a disease that's far more common. And these are the major challenges with myasthenia gravis, is the symptoms they fluctuate, they are symptoms that get better within the day. Some physicians have a hard time believing that they are real. And it's often not until there's a crisis that the diagnosis gets made. There are still patients who have unusual presentations or who go a long time before seeing a physician, who end up waiting years for diagnoses. But for the most part, I think that when these patients are coming into clinics and hospitals, their disease process is more easily being recognized. And that's a major improvement. And that's really helped us turn the tide of myasthenia gravis from a disease that people died from to a disease that people live with.
And that's an important factor. Just because you're diagnosed, this isn't a death sentence for you.
You can live a normal life, but working closely with the doctor to get the medication that works for you. There's many treatments out there, and there's times when you are not doing well and you may need a boost of like IVIG or plasmapheresis, plasma exchange. These kind of boost up the system to get you over a slump.
Most physicians get a paragraph or two in the textbook about myasthenia gravis, so it's not very well known within the medical community. I teach pathophysiology, which is diseases, and myasthenia gravis has, I think, 2 paragraphs in our 600-page textbook. A lot of patients don't want to speak up, and it advertises the world that they have this rare chronic illness. If you have a rare disease, get knowledgeable about it, learn about it, learn treatment options so that when you meet with your physician that you can speak the language, that you can make informed treatment options so that when something is suggested that might not work for you or something that you have concerns about, you're not just going to buy in. But one of the ways that people can connect is by Facebook. If there's nobody living around you that has this same disease, it's really easy, connect, and I have friends across the globe who have myasthenia gravis. I've been able to connect with them. We can bounce ideas off of each other. Have you tried this? I'm trying this new therapy. What have you found? Have you lost your hair with this medication? Did it make you more tired? Did it work for you? How long did it take to work? And you can talk to all these other people who've had the same experiences. And then when you do reach out to people in the area, they can tell you which doctors they've had really good luck with, which doctors are most knowledgeable. And that's actually how I found the doctor that I'm seeing now at the University of Michigan, was through a meeting in Grand Rapids. I met another MG person who said, oh yeah, I saw this doctor, you gotta go here. And so I went, and he's marvelous.
So being elderly and being intubated because of your MG, it's important to identify if it's because of MG or something else. Because if it is due to the MG, there is a great return rate, somebody returning to health once again. Right.
If it is really due to an MG crisis, it was triggered by something, so maybe it was pneumonia, maybe it was having surgery, maybe it was a very, very stressful situation. Once those are taken care of, we get the pneumonia cleared up, we get the person some periods of rest, we get the steroids on board, we start other treatments, we can get the person off the ventilator usually very, very quickly, probably within usually a few days, we'll get them off.
So the other thing that you've brought to my attention is BiPAP, and I was not familiar with patients being treated with BiPAP. So explain that, because it can be used
just on an average day, not just
Right.
for sleeping. So if you could explain that in a little bit more detail, I think people would enjoy knowing more about that.
CPAP is the one that most everybody's heard of. That's basically used for sleep apnea, and it's a mask over the nose and mouth, and air is being blown in at high pressure. And what it does is it keeps the airways open when the person is sleeping, so that then they keep breathing. BiPAP is a little bit different in that when you go to inhale, it pushes lots of air in. Okay, when you go to exhale, it lowers the pressure. So that's why it's called BiPAP. There's 2 levels of pressure, hence the bi. And it's great for people with neuromuscular weakness. And when a person's having a crisis and their breathing is really bad, that can be used as an alternative to intubation and put on a vent. And the other option for it is for somebody like me. I have trouble sleeping, breathing when I'm asleep. I have a hard time sleeping when I'm flat in the bed. I can't breathe well. Other times I'm just having a bad day and can't breathe well. I have a home unit, and all I have to do is put the mask on, turn on my machine, and I can use it to give my respiratory muscles a rest. And I can also use it when I'm sleeping, so that way when I'm waking up in the morning, I don't feel hungover from not having been breathing during the night. There's specific criteria for BiPAPs for patients with myasthenia gravis. Basically, if your respiratory muscles testing shows that your muscles are weak and you can't breathe in and out well, and you have a neuromuscular diagnosis, you qualify right across the board for BiPAP for home use. And having this has kept me out of the hospital before, and it's going to continue to keep me home when I'm not feeling well.
So when you're at weaker points, it allows you to not go into a much weakened state.
Right. Okay. I can adjust the settings with the help of my physician to compensate, and I'm allowed to just stay at home, rest, put that on without having to go to the emergency room or be admitted.
The idea of being vent dependent bothered us. Okay. She was getting stronger. She was able to walk around the house dragging the ventilator behind her, you know. She was able to take care of herself dragging the ventilator behind her. Okay. So shortly after that, you know, she still had this breathing issue. Shortly after that, we came across
a visiting nurse came and says, there's something out there that is possibly could help. It was a diaphragmatic pacer. And so we went to the pulmonologist and asked her if she had ever heard of it. I turned out to be a good candidate, so they put the pacer in, and I've been on it for a year now, over a year, and I've gotten rid of the ventilator, and even I can be without the pacer for at least 8 hours a day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
in 1 year.
So really quickly, I want to give you some of my tips of what I think really helps for me. Number one is a positive attitude. I don't start my day saying, oh no, I have this terrible disease and I can't control even my muscles. You know, I starting off my day trying to give gratitude for every single thing I do have, and the fact I can walk and that I have good doctors and good friends with myasthenia gravis to help lead me along the way. And then secondly, most important, is working with my physician. It's really critical. My physician and I have a partnership, and I've let him know my goals. I've let him know my goals, that I want to be able to have a law degree and have a career, be able to go to all the sporting events for nieces and nephews and friends, and I want to be able to sing in my church small women's group that we sing. And so we work together with treatments to make sure I can do the things that are really meaningful to me.
Education is essential in order to advocate for yourself or a loved one. Education allows you to create management strategies for daily living. At MGMI, we often hear from individuals when they are newly diagnosed, when their symptoms flare, or when they have insurance issues, or when prescribed treatments have not led to relief of their MG symptoms. Sign up for our quarterly newsletter or go to our website for tips and ideas on how to manage your illness. To find a support meeting near you, call our office or go to the MGMI website. The point is, get educated and get connected. In the next video segment, we'll look at what MGMI is doing to help and how you can get connected with the MG community that is working right here in Michigan.